Hello and welcome back to Throttle Logic. Today we're looking at our body positioning on the bike, how we're sitting to make sure we're getting the most out of the bike, the most effective progress and the control of the bike as well. We're going to start from the ground up, looking at each point as we go, making sure that as you're sitting, you've got effective control and everything is as it should be. Starting at the ground up, with our feet, that's essential, making sure that we've got our balance and our central gravity correct. Normally on the bike, central gravity is going to be quite high, sort of around the mid-tank range. By making sure that we plant our feet, putting some pressure on them, that lowers the centre of gravity, giving you better stability and better control of the bike as well. So again, looking at our feet then on the pegs, we want to make sure that where possible, you're able to get a nice firm hold on that peg so your foot's not going to slip and you're nice and central on it as well. I tend to put the balls to my feet on the peg. I find that gives them a bit more leverage, a bit more traction, and then if I need to, just changing the gears like so, returning back to how it was. Some people rather the arch their foot on, that's absolutely fine as well. It's all personal preference. Obviously, given what type of bike you ride, that will make an impact as well, and how big a bend you got on your knee to allow your foot to sit. But as we say, nice firm pressure on the feet, making sure that you're able to move around on the bike if needs be, and lowering the central gravity. So another benefit of having your feet locked in a nice, firm, stable position is it gives you that leverage to brace your knees against the tank. You want to have your knees and your inner thighs as much as you can on the tank, nice and tight. We're not MotoGP hanging off at the moment, just on the roads for regular public use. Just looking to, as I say, hug that tank, make a good firm contact, and make sure you've got that solid position here connecting you to the bike. So when it comes to our seat then, we want to make sure that, I always do anyway, I sit as far forward to the tank as possible. I find that gives me, A, the best purchase on the tank as well, and typically it's where the seats on the bike are made for you to sit into. Some seats have got slightly wider contact patch, so you can sit further back. I then find, because I've got too much space here, it doesn't feel quite stable and quite solid. So normally, as far forward as you can do, best contact patch on your legs, making sure you're hugging the bike and you're centred on to the centre of the bike as well. So when it comes to your core, it's key to keep a strong core when you're riding the bike. That's for a number of reasons. It's mainly enabling you to stabilise yourself, making sure that you've got a nice central position over the bike and that you're not moving back and forth as well. Particularly under heavy braking and acceleration, what we want to try and avoid doing is leaning forward and putting a weight on our handlebars that goes up our handlebars, into our elbow, into our shoulder, and it throws the whole system out of whack. Instead, we want to make sure that by having a firm position on our seat, as we mentioned already, and you've got a nice firm grasp of the tank between your inner thighs, anything movements you can control on your core. So we're going to do heavy braking. I've got no weight on my hands here at all. It's all held in the core. That allows our hands to be nice and free, moving the bike and controlling it as we need to in difficult circumstances. Something key that I find that people always seem to make the mistake of is getting unnecessarily tense. They get tense and they tend to brace up on the bike. That results in a lack of movement in their arms, and typically they're riding quite a fixed open arm position as they are. There's a lot of tension. All the muscles here are quite tense and braced going down the arm. Instead, we've got to make sure that our arms are nice and relaxed. We've got a nice bend in our arm as we're going along, and making sure we have that bend in our arm, making sure as well that our arms are nice and loose and down by our side. We're trying to avoid bracing our shoulders, just relaxing, making sure we've got proper control of the bars if needs be, in order to move the bike back and forth without keeping anything tense. And finally then, looking at our shoulders, upper body, and where we're looking in sense of direction. As we've said in previous videos, we want to make sure that we are looking as far ahead as possible in the distance, making sure that we can aid our action plan, so make the riding plan develop, and also giving us time to respond to any hazards we need to, as part of our IPSCA system. That all evolves from the top, to make sure that as we're riding, our arms are nice and relaxed, our shoulders relaxed, and we're facing forward, and our vision is lifted 4 or 5 feet above the ground or so, and as far as you can see in the distance. Again, this is just from my perspective, different bikes, different riding positions, but you'll find as a general rule, making sure that you're nice and relaxed, you're looking as far ahead as you can do, and you're as least tense as possible, taking all the weight in your legs and your core is going to provide you the best stance when riding and give you the best possible option of controlling the bike and making the sufficient movements you need to throughout your ride.